Good morning, everybody. Kip Tsort with DT4EMS and an episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. So this morning I'm working on some PowerPoint stuff and answering emails, and I had a thought. And the thought is due to some emails. And let me explain. What started off, which is DT4EMS, so what we started off for was for pre-hospital because that was where I had most of my experience. But then now we've progressed to the in-hospital arena, and so our EMS has really become everyone in medical services. And here's what I mean. Whenever a story would hit the news and somebody would send me a story about an attack or something like that, I would turn around and I contact the reporter that wrote the story. And I've done this, literally hundreds of times over the past, since 1997, however many years that is now. But I would email the reporter or call the reporter and ask them to follow up. Here's what's funny. So the reporter would contact, say, a hospital, and whenever they talk to the public information person or officer, whoever they may be, what do you think that person tells them about violence in their ED? Yeah, you got it. It doesn't exist. We don't have a problem. Well, I'm telling you, they must live in a bubble and nothing ever occurs, because usually what happens is it's somebody within their ED or the local pre-hospital, the EMS or whatever, that turns around and lets us know about it. So that's fine. But here's how I think we could solve that. What do you think would happen if the local administrator of that hospital was on the show Undercover Boss? Have you ever noticed, if you've ever watched that show, which on occasion when I'm in a hotel room somewhere across the country, I've watched it, and the thing that I think is so funny about it is when the administrator dresses like one of the employees and begins to act like one of the employees or hangs around with one of those employees, they find out some interesting things that they as an administrator weren't aware of. Now don't get me wrong here with what I'm about to say, because many administrators have a very difficult job. Their job is to keep whatever it is up and running and doing, whatever it's supposed to do. But if we forget about our human element, our true human resources, then we've lost what we're supposed to be doing anyway. Because like I shared before in an earlier episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer, that if we changed our focus from patient satisfaction and patient safety to employee satisfaction and employee safety, I believe we would find a greater patient satisfaction and patient safety because we changed our focus. Well, anyway, so let's go back to the Undercover Boss. So what do you think a hospital administrator would see if they ever had to work the night shift in an emergency department, whether it's urban or rural or suburban? Because we've seen it all. Everywhere we've ever been, it's all the same. It's all based upon, it's relative depending upon the numbers of staff and people they see and so on and so forth. But violence still occurs and improper use of force by staff still occurs. So what do you think that administrator would see? Do you think they would see everything as hunky-dory and our ER is really, or I'm sorry, excuse me, ED, our emergency department, is really a hotel like we want to try to put it out there? Or do you think they would see the violence that their staff faces from drunk and drugged individuals, them being spit on, pushed, shoved, cussed out, threatened with their lives, or truthfully attacked, violently attacked, and then vice versa? What do you think that administrator would hear staff say about how they would use force in the break room? Would they hear staff talking about how I just whack them with this, hit them with the O2 bottle, I'd do them the railback whack, would give them a little electrical therapy? I think that the Undercover Boss would be such an amazing show for a hospital administrator. And I know here's the quick answer. They're going to jump up and say, well, Hippo wouldn't let us. I get it. You know what I mean? I totally get it. I've done this for so long. I've heard every excuse that there is known to man on why we don't want to address the dirty little secret, which is violence in medicine. But I just thought you would think about it as like I did and find it funny or ironic. What do you think an administrator would see if they really came in on an evening or a night shift in the local emergency department? Do you think that would change their attitude about wanting to have either A, more training, B, more security, C, making sure the doors are locked and that their staff really are treated a certain way? And if you don't believe that we become a product of our environment, would you agree that a floor nurse is different than an ED nurse? If you don't believe me, talk to any ED nurse and then go and talk to a floor nurse, and you will see they are two different types of people. We're just wired completely different. Even though we got into this business because we wanted to help people, the way we're treated sometimes makes us jaded. And guys, there's tons more information on the dt4ems.com website that covers and proves this very subject, that ignoring the problem or hiding under the covers doesn't mean that monster doesn't exist. It's still there. And I'm telling you, when this one comes out with its big ass teeth, it's going to bite you. We'll see you.